Hi, I'm Novel Mike, and this is my opinion. So, I haven't made a video for a while, and there's been a lot of news going on with Nintendo's NX system. There's been fake controller leaks and rumors that it's actually coming out this year, and a lot of stuff like that. And we could find out real information about it as soon as this month, with Nintendo's investor meeting being at the end of this month, and that's supposed to be for the full financial next year. So we could find out some concrete details by then, and probably a full unveiling at E3 in June. So what I want to do is basically I just came up with 7 things that I want to see from this next system. I'm not including things that I think are a little bit obvious, something like the Legend of Zelda Wii U being ported to the system. I think at this point that's a given, and if it doesn't happen, they're completely crazy. So anyway, number one, I want to see a unified account system on the NX. So Miitomo just came out, and it's pretty popular, and it links to your Nintendo Network ID as well as your My Nintendo account. So they've got all this information, and I think it's absolutely crazy that they have not unified the account systems, and more specifically, unified purchases with this account system. I am tired of buying games that I've bought on Wii U, like Earthbound for $10, and I see it show up on the 3DS eShop, and I've paid another $10 if I want to buy that game again. I don't understand why this exists and why I at least do not get a discount for it. It should be free. I mean, if I purchase it on one system, it should be free on another system. And that's how it works on pretty much every other company, specifically on mobile. So it's just ridiculous to me that they have this wall that prevents you from having your games on other systems when they release them unless you pay them more money. Especially something like Earthbound. It's $10. It's the most expensive Super Nintendo game. And it's a good game, but I don't want to spend $10 on it twice when I've already paid for it once. Number two, I want to see a proper 3D Mario game. I want to see a showcase of what the NX can do. I want to see what its hardware can do. If they have a new controller that's really weird, I want to see what that can do with that game. That is how games like Mario 64 and Mario Galaxy were so popular. They were showcases of the system, and it helps sell those systems, especially Mario 64. If Nintendo wants to see success with the NX, I think they need to do something like that. And I'm sorry, but I'm just tired of these same kind of Mario games that are just like the 2D games, whether they're in 2D or 3D. I want something like a big adventure again, whether it's collecting stars or otherwise, just something that really shows that Nintendo has an idea of what to do with Mario in the 3D space again. Number 3 and number 4 are kind of joined together, but let's just start with number 3. I want an easy system for developers to be able to port to. One of the things that screwed over the NX, or the Wii U originally, was that it essentially was very difficult to port to. It's not that the hardware was difficult to port to, but when developers wanted to put games on the system, they had to have added costs because they had to develop new things for the gamepad. And that eventually was one of the things that just turned developers away from the Wii U, along with really poor starting sales. And if they don't want that to happen again, they need a system that is easy to port to, that has, modern controls and a modern controller. It doesn't necessarily, if they want to have a gimmicky controller for the system, that's fine, but you have to have an option for people to be able to use normal controls and just make it easy for developers to get their games on your system. And number 4 specifically is I want to see a strong third-party support from all these developers, and publishers. And specifically, I want to mention Square Enix here. When the new Dragon Quest game was announced, they talked specifically, very briefly, about it actually coming to NX, as well as 3DS, but they later backpedaled on that, probably because they weren't supposed to talk about it yet. So that seems like that's likely going to happen. Also, Cloud showed up in Smash Brothers last year, blowing everyone's mind. And if that's not a sign that we could get the Final Fantasy VII Remake on an NX, I don't know what else you need. I mean, that needs to happen. But along those lines, there's other games from Square Enix that I would like to see on the system. Stuff like Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3. Getting those confirmed for the system, I think, would be a very strong start. And while other games sell really well on other systems, I think RPGs are the backbone of every system. If you don't have good RPGs, your system generally doesn't do that well. So if you can get Square Enix on board, I think you'll bring other developers in if they're not already. And if you can get some of these bigger titles, I think it'll be very, very helpful. at least at the start of the system's launch. I don't necessarily think you need the stuff like Madden and Call of Duty on the system, because those ones pretty much aren't going to be bought on the system anyway, because people like play this with friends, and they're going to stick to their other current consoles for that. So mainly just some good, I would say single player first party support. That's specifically what I want to see. Number 5, the NX should not be backwards compatible. So I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but I don't want the NX to be backwards compatible with the Wii, Wii U, or otherwise. The problem is that it's just additional cost, and specifically with the Wii U, it was already an expensive system to make because of the gamepad. And if they have it so that you have to have a gamepad to play backwards compatibility games on the NX, that's just additional cost, whether it's something you buy separately or not. And it wouldn't just be that. You would have to have components from the Wii U into the system, as well as the Wii U like startup screen and all that. So the best way would just be to not do that, and for the more popular titles on Wii U like Smash Brothers, Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, just re-release them on Wii U. And in fact, if you wanted to make a big digital push going forward on these systems, do what I did with what I was saying with the unified account system. If I purchase Mario Kart 8 digitally on the Wii U or its DLC, I should be able to get that on my Wii U at either a reduced price or free. I see no reason to not do that, and that would greatly help push digital games going forward, which every single one of these publishers want to do because it means more money for them. Number 6, a game for amiibos. I have a lot of amiibos, and I like them a lot. It's cool to get merchandise for certain characters and certain games that never had it before, like Fire Emblem. But outside of costumes and some unlocks, there isn't really a reason to have them. So what I would like to see is some kind of game. It doesn't have to be exactly like Disney Infinity or Skylanders, but a game that uses the amiibos as your main characters. So you plug in your Marth or Link amiibo, and then you're playing that in that game. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but it should be a full-fledged game that they've worked on. I'm just tired of all these little additional things and gimmicks with these amiibos. I want a reason to actually have all these characters and be able to use them in a game together. That'd be really cool. Even if it was something, not a fighting game, but something like Smash Brothers, a mashup of all these Nintendo properties. Smash worked great for that reason alone. Why not do it with an adventure game or something like that? Number 7, a new Pokemon RPG. So, Mario sells well, Zelda sells well, a lot of Nintendo properties sell really well. But nothing sells like Pokemon. And one thing people have been clamoring for is a 3D Pokemon RPG on console. And I think personally what I would like to see is a remake of the first generation in the Kanto region with the first 151 Pokemon, on a console system with a full 3D world. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as Red, Blue, and Yellow, but very similar. The same town, the same goal: collect 8 badges, stop Team Rocket, become the champion, all that. And the reason that I think this would work is because it would be something that they haven't really done before, and I know Nintendo's seen how much money they've made from re-releasing Red, Blue, and Yellow on the 3DS eShop, so I can't imagine it's not in their minds to at least think about doing something like that, especially for the anniversary. But as it is, we'll have to see what they do. That's pretty much all I got for now. I've got some other small ideas of what I want to see, but nothing really crazy. I'm hoping we get a lot more information about the NX soon. Hopefully actual information, not fake leaks with controllers, because that was very, very entertaining, but silly. Anyway, I'm Novel Mike, and that was my opinion. Thanks. Bye.